Well, we are right at 3, so we'll just go ahead and get started. We are here with ProLiteracy again. We're going to dive deeper into Education Network. We have Michelle and Todd, and I'll just let them take it away.
All
Todd,
right.
you want to jump in?
Sure. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Take that. And there we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Todd Evans. I am the Director of Professional Development for ProLiteracy. And I'm going to talk to you today about ProLiteracy Education Network, which is really our resource hub for our member programs and the field at large. And so a lot of what I do is identifying and finding and developing resources to go on this hub. And they are for tutors and teachers. They're for people that run programs. They are for trainers, resources to help them train their tutors and teachers, or information about good training techniques. And we are starting to get more and more resources for students on the website. And so what I'm planning on doing today is just kind of talking to you a little bit about what type of things are on there, and then kind of going on a tour of the site itself, if that works for everybody. And I will, because I'll be kind of switching back and forth between the slideshow and the website. Michelle, I'll just rely on you to let me know if anybody has any questions, and you guys can raise your hands to let Michelle know if that works. Okay, so ProLiteracy Education Network, you see the URL right there. And if you type that in, what that's going to do is it's going to take you to a landing page on our main website that just tells you a little bit more about the website. But kind of the nice thing about that landing page is you'll see, this is an image of the landing page, and you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a button to log into your account if you already have an account. There's a buttons to create account if you're a member or a non-member. And there's also a button to create a student account. And we encourage you, if students are working on Education Network, accessing resources on Education Network, we want them to create their own account. In fact, let me just say, we want everybody to create their own individual account instead of kind of a generic account for your organization. And the reason for that is a lot of our resources are courses. At the end of them, you get a certificate. And so if a bunch of people are using the same login, then only one person gets the certificate and everybody else doesn't. So I'll show you in a minute how to connect your account to your overall organization so that when you log in, you get any of your tutors or teachers or students get access to all the membership benefits and resources that are on there. So you can create an account for that. And really the kind of benefit of that is the only URL you really need to know is that proliteracyednet.org. And that's just kind of a good starting point, a good URL to share with people. Okay. So once you create an account, you're on the landing page. The landing page, this is kind of the top half of it, and I'll show you the full landing page in just a minute. But the sorts of things that we have on Education Network, we have a lot of self-paced courses. They're asynchronous. You can do them anytime you want. We've got about, I think, 40 or 50 self-paced courses that are, they're short, about an hour, hour and a half. The idea is they can be taken in 1 or 2 lunch times. That's kind of our goal. They're on things like teaching vocabulary, teaching reading comprehension. We've got 4 on citizenship, just different things like that. At the end of them, you can just bounce around the course if you want. But if you want a certificate, there will be an exam that you can take. And if you get 80% or better on the exam, you can print out a certificate. And so this is handy if you're asking a volunteer to go and take a course. They can come back and show you the certificate, or they can download it as a PDF and email it to you. And that way you can verify that they took the course. The exams are challenging, but they're not like overly challenging. Our goal is to kind of make sure that a person knows the information, but it's not to be a gatekeeper. These are not like graduate level courses or anything like that. And you can retake the exams as often as you want. And so if you miss things, they'll tell you what you missed. You can go back in the course, study again, take the exam again. We also have an extensive video library. Most of them are demonstration videos around different teaching techniques. We have some videos for trainers to show them training techniques. We have a lot of interviews with students, with tutors, kind of motivational things. You might use those for promotion or linking to them, on your social media pages, things like that. Lots of downloadable, printable resources. We'll talk about those, or I'll show you some of those. Lots of lesson plans that teachers can download and use right away with their students. Those are generally taken from different New Readers Press materials, or there'll be lesson plans that other people have published. A lot of the resources you can download and use and manipulate any way you want. If they are resources that obviously come from some sort of published material, we have permission to have them on our site. You can run off as many copies as you want. We ask that you just not change them in any way. There's some like online activities for students to do, courses for students, and there are online forums. So we'll go into that in just a few minutes. Went backwards here. Also on the Education Network is where we have our Member Central. And so scrolling down on the welcome page, there's a black bar kind of in the middle, and you can click on that to access all of your benefits that are part of your ProLiteracy membership. And so you see some of the main ones we have that are linked there: the tutor training notebook and the member toolkit. There are a lot more resources there. As long as your tutors or teachers put in your organization ID when they create an account, they will automatically have access to all of these things. So just our annual statistical reports, they go back, I think we have back maybe 15 years, almost 20.
A lot.
Years. I think it's back to like year 2007, 2008. So if you're looking for kind of historical data to compare your program to, that's a good place to go and kind of look at trends. Notebook. You guys familiar with Notebook? No? Okay, so Notebook is a membership publication. It comes out 3 times a year, and it's, I think, 16 pages full of resources for tutors, teachers, instructors. So there's always kind of a big article that's about like an instructional strategy, and there's a lesson plan associated with it that you can download and use. There's typically 2 or 3 other articles about different types of instructional strategies or approaches, or maybe a resource. There's a kind of a resource list. And then there's a interview with either a tutor or a student, kind of a feature story. Michelle, anything you want to say about Notebook?
Just that it's really a useful tool for instruction, because if for instance, you didn't have maybe time to prepare something or you needed to do something impromptu, you could really just open any issue of notebook and pull out a ready-made lesson that you could probably do on the spot. And the other thing to keep in mind is too, when you're searching, you can the search tool will bring up, if you're looking for like a financial literacy lesson and you search on that, it'll bring up articles that are appearing in different issues of Notebook that cover that topic. So it
Yeah.
rotates topics from, it might cover in one issue, reading, math, citizenship, and then the next issue might be numeracy, ESL. So the topics rotate, so there's something for everybody. And again, because the entire archives is on here, you can access any issue at any time.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, it's really a great resource for tutors and teachers. I keep hitting my scrolling button. Sorry about that. So this is the member toolkit, and what it is it's a collection of resources. Again, I think they're about 16 pages, and they're resources to help you market your literacy program. So you'll see there's this is just a sampling, but there's stuff on branding, storytelling, doing email marketing, social media. There's one on infographics, how to use infographics to make your data more interesting. But you can go on there. They're kind of great, I guess, kind of,
How-tos.
I don't want to call them overview pieces because they do have some overview, but they really do get down into the details of whatever the particular topic is. It's really useful. And then there's the tutor training resources. So these we developed and released in 2018. They are free to ProLiteracy members. And you'll see that we have face-to-face materials as well as online materials. And the face-to-face content and the online content is the same. For the basic literacy, there's 12 modules. For the ESL, there's 13. Kind of the first 3 modules are really an overview of literacy or ESL instruction, understanding working with adult students or understanding working with non-native English speakers. Module 4 is on lesson planning. So there's kind of a generic lesson plan for working in basic literacy or ESL. 5 is on assessment. And then the remaining ones, whatever that is, 6 through 10 or 11, is on different aspects of instruction. So for literacy, it's decoding skills, fluency, vocabulary, reading comprehension, and writing. For ESL, it is vocabulary, conversation or dialogue, pronunciation, grammar, reading, and writing. And then the last 2 are language experience, and then the first session, like what kind of getting tutors ready for what they should do the first session. And like I said, all of that content is also in the face-to-face materials. The face-to-face materials have a PowerPoint. They have trainer notes to tell you kind of what to say. And they have handouts for the tutors attending. And if you use all 12 modules or all 13 modules, at the end, your tutors have a really nice resource handbook for them. And all of that material is yours. It's designed for you to customize. So go in and you take the PowerPoints, whichever ones you want to use. If you want to modify them with your stats or modify the lesson plan, you're free to do that. They're designed for you to be customizable.
Yep. And I want to jump in. Same thing with the online. So what I always advise people, if you're going to assign this training, I advise somebody to take the whole training themselves, even if they're just skimming it and going through and seeing what the table of contents are. And if it's more than what you think your tutors or instructors may need, you can always assign specific modules, and you could say, okay, I want you to come and have completed modules 1 through 3 and number 6. You can pick whatever works best for your program. And you can also do things like decide you want maybe certain modules done before you kind of meet with the tutors first time. And then you could assign additional modules later as sort of a continued professional development as they continue. Maybe after they've met with their student for a month or two, then you can assign an additional module for them to take. The emphasis here is just that everything is meant to be extremely customizable and adaptable to your needs. It's not meant to be a one size fits all. And to use it, you feel like you have to have your tutors take the entire course, like every single module.
Yeah,
Really
that's right.
adaptable. You know, we were told there was a need for this in the field. So of course, we're going to do it in the most complete manner possible and cover everything. So you have what you need, but that doesn't mean you have to use all of it if it's more than you need. So I just want to emphasize that point.
Yeah. And a lot of programs, even if they're doing face-to-face training, they might use our materials, our face-to-face materials to do their face-to-face training, but then they'll refer to their tutors to the online workshop as an additional resource, because we all know a lot of us front load our tutor training. And so by the time the tutor starts working with the student and the student is having trouble with vocabulary, they're like, well, I remember we covered that in tutor training, but I don't remember exactly what the techniques were we talked about. So they can go onto the online piece and refresh their memory. And we have for members, another thing that we've done for some members is kind of create a customized version of the online workshop for them. There's a fee associated with that, just generally based on how much customization you want and how many different lessons. But we've done it for some library systems that have wanted a customized and branded kind of version of our online materials. I think one of them was doing kind of a blended training of literacy and ESL. And that's ranged from generally $1,000 to $2,000. But like I said, it's kind of depends on how much you want done. And we generally kind of ask you to go through and just go through each module and let us know what the slides are that you want and if there are any customizations that you want within the slide. So the other thing that I want to kind of talk to you about is this idea of creating a custom login page. So I told you that one of the things that it's important for your tutors and trainers and students to do when they create an account is enter your organization ID when they create an account so that they're associated with your organization. So there are a lot of pitfalls in having them do that, having them type zeros instead of ones, having them copy the number out of the email that you send them and they leave off a digit, just a variety of things. And so we wind up a lot of times with people not entering the right organization ID and they don't get associated with your organization. So one of the ways that we came up with dealing with that is offering for members a customized login page for them. And you'll see the URL up here is the form that you fill out if you want it. And it's a benefit of membership. It gives you kind of several things. One, it gives you a unique URL. So your URL would be ProLiteracyEdNet /org/ whatever the URL is for your organization. So you see on the right an example of a custom login page. That's my organization here in St. Louis. It's a coalition of literacy programs, but our website is literacyroundtable.org. So our URL for our custom login page is proliteracyednet.org/literacyroundtable. Very easy for us to remember, very easy for our people associated with our organization to remember. You'll see kind of the custom login page on the right. You get to choose a banner. You send us your logo. We brand it there. There's an introductory paragraph. This is all pretty much a template, but you'll see that there's the name of your organization there on the top. And then the important piece of it is there are buttons down here for tutors, staff, trainers to create an account or a student to create an account. And the benefit of that is when they create an account, your ID is automatically entered. And so you don't have to worry about them misentering your ID. And yeah, you can see the URL down at the bottom. So yeah, here's an example of the form. So once I've entered my name and everything on the first page, it goes to the second page and you see information is already automatically entered. So I don't have to worry about that. One of the other benefits of creating a custom login page is that you also get on Education Network a member forum. It's basically just a discussion board on Education Network, but the benefit of it is that only your members can see it, and resources or things that are posted on that discussion board also show up in search results. So that's really nice. So you'll see here, this is an example from Indie Reads. They use it to put up a lot of their training resources for their new tutors. So you see they have a folder for training videos. And if I clicked on that, it would show me just a variety of training videos, and they have them organized by which session the tutors are in their face-to-face training. So they use that, they send their folks there before they come to that session to watch those videos so they have an idea of what they're talking about. And then you'll see there's a folder for additional resources. They have things like their monthly reports and place where tutors can go and ask questions. If you have, you might set up particular boards around literacy or ESL or math, or you might specific things about student motivation or things like that. And it'll be a place where tutors can post questions. You can go back in and respond to them. You might even set up kind of learning circles. If you're one of the training models that we like to encourage people to do is when you get in those monthly reports back and you see that maybe 10 or so of your students or of your tutors are really having trouble teaching spelling with their students, you might kind of bring those folks together in a Zoom, talk about some strategies for teaching spelling, and then you might set up a little discussion group for those 10 people on your forum for them to share once they go back and start using some of the strategies you talked about, for them to share ideas and ask questions of each other and things like that. So again, just a great resource benefit of membership. Let's see. I think next are the contacts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this thing here, and I want to just kind of take you on a tour. So I'm going to, okay, you can see my web browser, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So I'm going to type in ProLiteracyEdNet.org. And you'll see here, it takes me to that landing page. And I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in here. So it's going to take me to my login page. I have a nice Valentine's themed login page. We have different seasonal banners and things like that, so to kind of keep things fresh. But here you'll see, so just a little bit, kind of a tour of the navigation features. You'll see, first of all, it thanks me for being a member. You'll see up here a little menu, my stuff, that's my transcript. So anytime I click on a resource and open it, it automatically goes in my transcript. So the next time I want to find it, I don't have to hunt it down again. I can just click on my stuff and go right there and open it up from there. Browse resources. This is if I just want to kind of open myself up to all the resources and just kind of cruise around. I've got 8 or 10 hours with nothing to do and looking for an exciting way to spend a Saturday afternoon. Here I can get to the forums. So any forum that I'm a member of, I will see there. So We have some generic forums, one for basic literacy, one for ESL. We have a frequently asked questions one. That's where your tutors and teachers would find your forum. But also a lot of the online courses have discussion boards associated with them. So those will also be there. And then we have a little how-to. So if you click here, it's going to take you to an area of our video library that has little how-to videos, like how to navigate, how to print off a certificate for your course, there we
Alex
go.
said that her internet was being a little.
Oh, I see. A little bit iffy. Okay.
Yep. So she might have dropped and come back in really quick.
No problem. I think that's what happened. So, okay. I think we're recording again. So anyway, these are where we put some kind of common resources that we thought you might want to access. So you'll see there's an entry for literacy. There's an entry for ESL. There's an entry for lesson plans for our online courses, our workforce development collection, and our national quality standards for program management. I'm going to close out of that. You'll see kind of the next part of the welcome page is there's places for you to explore based on who you are. So if I'm a program manager or staff, I can click here and it's going to take me to the resources for program managers or staff. And you'll see here on the left, under subjects, I'm under the subject area, program manager and staff. And then you'll see kind of the sub-subjects that we have. So adding services, management and leadership training, fund development, national quality standards, public relations and communications, student services, tutor or instructional services, volunteer recruitment and retention. I can click on this logo at the top left, and it always takes me back to that welcome page. Same thing for tutors or teachers. And you'll see it has alphabetics, citizenship, ESL, family literacy, fluency, literacy, learning disabilities, and so on. So that's the idea, just a way to explore kind of based on who you are. And I should show you, if I click on Browse Resources up here, it's going to give you, if you've identified subjects that you're interested in, you're going to have a carousel here that is kind of feeding you information based on those subjects. Featured, these are kind of new resources that we've added. Popular, these are ones that are a lot of people are using recently, and our newest resources down here. So those are just some carousels where I can click browse all and I get access to kind of all the subjects and can just approach it like that. Here's Member Central. So if I click on See All, I kind of have the same thing. I go to a place where there's the Member Central subject area, and there's the annual statistical report. There's stuff for international members, recordings of Learning Share webinars, the media kit, the tutor training, and so on. And then down at the bottom here, our featured resources. So there's the training, and basically this is where whenever we release a new resource, we kind of list it here. So I wanted to show you kind of one more thing about the custom login page, just to show you kind of how it worked. And then I'll stop and take questions. And then I want to show you some additional resources that I think you might be interested in. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to open up a new one. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to type in ProLiteracy ednet.org/literacy roundtable. Okay, so here's my portal, and you'll see if I already have an account, I can log in from here. But if I create an account, and I'm just going to fill out this form. So the first page just basically asking your first name, last name, email address. Your email address becomes your username. I don't have to enter my address, but it's helpful. Let it know I'm not a robot. And then if I go to next, you'll see it's already associated me with the Literacy Roundtable. my organization ID is already in there. So I don't have to worry about mistyping anything. And then when I finish creating my account, I log in and I'm automatically associated with your organization. And the benefit of that is whoever fills out the report or the form for that custom login page also becomes the moderator for the forum, and they have the capacity to run reports for users of Education Network. So let's say, Nan, you filled out the form. You've got your lovely custom login page. You're the moderator of the forum, which means you get to create all the folders and the topic areas for resources and discussion. But you can also go and run reports about the users, your volunteers and staff that are using Education Network. So the type of reports you can see for your tutors, or if they're taking any of the basic literacy or ESL tutor training, you can see kind of what modules they're taking and if they've completed them or not. You get a dashboard with, and I'll show you what these dashboards look like. And mine's going to look different because kind of everybody is in my organization, but you can only run reports for people in yours. It's kind of limited to your organization. So if I go to this, I think this is the one I want. And my internet is being slow here.
Say.
Yeah, here we go. I think member dashboard. Yep. And so this one at the top is going to take a minute to refresh, but it will tell me kind of what are the most popular resources, the 10 most popular resources over the last month. And there you see the stats for kind of the ESL tutor training and the basic literacy tutor training, the number of people that have registered, completed, have it in progress, and so on. And I don't know if that one's going to pop up or not. I can also run reports for students, and I have a student dashboard. So for students, I can see who has completed hours for last month and for this month. And that is just going to register all of our resources have a number of hours associated with them. And so once I complete for students, once I complete reading a book or taking a course, it's going to register that number of hours. So it's not like seat time, but it is the hours associated with completing a particular thing, object. And then the reports, I can run, let's see. So for students, I can run a student transcript. So I can see for a particular student, all the different resources they've accessed. And I can look at that for the current month or the previous month, or for individual students. I think this is the one, user data reports. Active user reports, I can see all of the people in my organization that have created an account on Education Network. And then this one shows me each of those people, all the different training things that they have accessed and if they've completed them. Excuse me, if they've completed them or not. And excuse me, these are just our kind of beginning resources or beginning reports. If there are reports that you would like, you can let us know and we'll try to build those out.
Well, Todd, I just want to point out to everybody, Todd mentioned the welcome, Todd. Thank you for being a ProLiteracy member. That's a very easy way to immediately recognize if an account has been set up correctly. So if a tutor's saying, I can't seem to access the training, it's asking me for money. If they log in and you don't see that, thank you for being a member, that means something's amiss. They maybe entered the number wrong, entered in the wrong spot. Generally speaking, we don't have the system connected to our membership database, so we have to have this back end report that runs periodically to update the system. It's very slow and it's very intermittent. So what I suggest, if somebody's there and you're working with a tutor and you need it fixed right away, the best bet is to email ednet@proliteracy.org and just say, you know, something's wrong with such and such's account. There's supposed to be a member account, give them the member number, and they can probably fix it on the back end. But to save yourself that aggravation, that's why it's so important to get it right out of the gate. Because if they add the number right away, it automatically gives them access right away.
Yeah.
If they don't, they're not going to be able to get in there until either that back end report runs, which again is very slow, very intermittent, or they contact support and support goes in on the back end and changes it and fixes it. So,
and honestly, most of the time it's because they copied the number from an email and left out one of the numbers, or they switched a 0 for an O, or when they copied the number, they also copied the period. I would say those are probably 80% of the reasons why, or they put the number in the individual
right.
ID instead of the organization ID.
Right.
So, but there's a lot of people. So those are kind of the 4 main things. They seem kind of simple. They are easy for us to fix. So if somebody, like Michelle said, if somebody shouldn't be paying for the tutor training and they get a thing that says they have to pay, they've entered a number wrong, we can fix it in a matter of minutes. But that's typically what it is, which is why that custom login page is valuable. It just saves all of that headache.
Right. But just generally remember, you all have organizational memberships. So your org numbers are always going to start with ORG, which is short for organizational. So it's not a 0, it's an ORG, and then it's followed by 6 digits. And
that first digit up until now is a 0, not an O. Yes. So it's ORG 0 something or else. Yeah.
Well, it's ORG in 6 digits. Right now, I think the numbers are so low. There's zeros, but eventually.
Right. But the point is that,
0.
Yeah, it's a 0 and not an O. Because a lot of people do ORG 057. That's one of the ways they mess up. Yeah.
So 3 alphabetic letters, 6 digits.
6 numbers. Yeah.
6 numbers.
Okay, let's stop here and just see if anybody has any questions, and I'll answer them. And if not, I'll show you some more stuff on here.
Does anybody have any questions? They want to be on mute. Nan?
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Thanks so much for doing this. Hey, so I teach ESL. So you have clearly all this great content. I would imagine that most of it is adaptable to ESL classrooms.
Yes.
But when I'm starting out, should I stick to the content that you have here that's created especially for English language learners? Or,
so I don't know if stick would be the word I would use, but I would say that would be the starting point. I think that's where I would start. And then probably expand out from there.
Okay. So for example, if I were to access the ESL content, so is there, for example, financial literacy for English language learners at certain levels perhaps, or?
That is a great question. Let's see. I
thank you.
don't know the answer to that. But we can find out. Okay, so let's see. Here it looks like all of the resources around financial literacy. So hands-on banking. Let's see what that is. Online Learning Center Office information resources for students and teachers. So that's probably vary in reading level and including some resources at lower reading levels. So that might be, even though it's not identified as an ESL resource, it might be useful for some ESL students.
Yeah, and we do that a lot anyway, just teach, 8th grade level perhaps lessons. So
Yeah.
I great. Thank you for taking the time to show me
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, so I think there are some curricula that are specifically for ESL. And I wonder if I just searched financial literacy and ESL. Lesson plan, financial resources and economic education. Okay, so here's a financial literacy curriculum developed by California Literacy, designed to help ESL learners develop financial literacy skills while improving their English.
Excellent.
So
Perfect.
there you go.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
You're
you
welcome.
taking the time. Thank you.
So what Todd just showed is sometimes it takes a little searching and putting some words in. And if you're ever looking for something specific like that and your search isn't coming up, you can always email the team and they'll do a search or at least check to see, okay, we don't have a resource that specifically meets that need, or they'll find the resource and maybe there's something wrong with the tagging that it's not coming up using the search terms you're using, which is a possibility.
Yeah. But a lot of times people will say, I'm looking for this and I can't find it. And as Michelle said, if we go on and we can't find it either, we then will go out and look for something. And then because we recognize, hey, that's a gap that we have. And so we'll go out, try to find some good resources, load them up. And then we would also email you, Nan, and say, you know what, we went out and found these 2 or 3 resources, see what you think. And we're going to load them up onto Education Network. So it's very much an interactive site. If you find resources that you think are great, people submit resources to us all the time. And yeah, so we kind of review them and put them up there, especially if they're recommended by, our members and folks in the field. Absolutely. Great question, Nan. Anybody else?
It could be any question, even if it's just a basic navigation question or just basic account setup question. Anything is fair game.
I'll tell you what, while people are thinking,
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and show some of the resources that we have.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to start with some of our student resources because I think they're really cool. So I'm going to change my account. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to log out as me. And I'm going to log in as a student, my student account. And so you'll see when I created this account, I used that student button for the create an account instead of the regular one. And so it automatically identifies me as a student. I have a much simpler navigation. And it's going to keep me in the resources that are just designed for me as a student. Okay. So you'll see here, there's a spotlight section. So this is where we put new resources. You'll see there's a button here for navigations to show me how to navigate the site, and then different categories. I'm going to click on this pleasure reading because this is one I think that is really cool. These are books that we are developing with the California Library System. So they have tutors and students writing these very low-level beginning books. They are printing hard copies of them and then sending them to us, and we are uploading them basically as ebooks onto Education Network. So I'll show you what one looks like. And I always like doing Buster and Daisy. But there are stories around animals. There's a lot of like national parks and travel ones. There's stuff around food and things like that. But I'm just going to click here. Here it tells me about, this is the daily life of 2 small dogs who are friends. I'm going to launch this book. And you'll see kind of the first thing with any course or in this case, a book. It's going to ask me if I want to resume where I left off. I'm just going to say no. And so here's the book. That's the introductory page. So here we go. Hi, I'm Daisy. I was as small as mom's shoe when I came home. This is Buster. His color reads bad to the bone. I know. I love it. We have a dog bed. It is warm and soft. We have short hair. Mom makes us cute, soft jackets to keep us warm. But you see, very low level kind of reading level. And we've got, I think, about 45 or 50 of them up now. Our entire collection, when we get it loaded up, should be about 120. And they're on just a variety of topics. And so really good just opportunities if you're working with low level students, or Nan, you were talking about ESL students, and they need just practice reading English. Great resource. And because they're online, if you're meeting virtually, this is very easy to share, through a Zoom class or something like that. So I'm going to exit this.
They can do it on their own time to supplement.
They can do it on their own time. Yep, absolutely. And then again, if I'm a student and I click on that logo, it takes me back to the home page. This Understanding Finance and Money course, you were asking about financial literacy. So this is kind of it's designed for native English speakers, but the idea is a lot of times folks are looking at financial literacy curriculum and it's written at too high a level. And a lot of times it's using terms that they may not have been kind of introduced to. So this is a good intro to those financial literacy courses for folks who might be reading at a lower level. So I'm just going to open it up, and there's an introduction that just shows you how to navigate. I'm going to launch this course. Actually, you know what? I'm going to launch Managing Your Credit, but you'll see there are 6 lessons. I can go into any one of them. So this is designed for students. They might need some help, creating an account and kind of accessing it for the first time. I'm going to hit play. Oh, and I want to share my sound.
Welcome to Lesson 2, Managing Your Credit. Select the Start button to begin.
You guys can hear that, correct? Okay.
Hi, I'm Christina. Last night on my way back home, I met one of my friends. He was telling me about a good deal he got with a credit card. He was advising me to apply for one, but I'm not sure. Perhaps this lesson will give me some ideas.
So there's an introduction that kind of tells you what the lesson's going to be about. I'm
Here
just going
is
to
what
click
you will
through.
learn in this.
So here's the kind of what the student's going to learn.
Let's start by reviewing the vocabulary.
We're going to start by reviewing vocabulary words. So we see you have kind of those tier 2 vocabulary words. You also have money words. And if I click on those, I'm going to get like a real kind of simple definition.
Good readers prepare themselves before they read. One of the ways they do that is by previewing. This means looking at the title, pictures, or headings. The title of the lesson is Managing Your Credit. The title of the article is The Hidden Side of Credit Cards. Based on those 2 titles, what do you think the article will be about? Maybe it will be about paying back more money than what you have owed. Let's take a look.
So
First,
we're working on
let's connect what we learned.
kind of those pre-reading comprehension strategies.
Now,
And it
before
kind of
you
takes
read
you
the
through
article,
that.
let's.
Here are some of the comprehension strategies that get covered in the various lessons.
Now it's time to read the article about credit cards.
And here the student can read the article on their own. They can click on the speaker and have it read to them. And you'll see if they click on the vocabulary word, it gives them the definition. I'm just going to kind of go through this.
Let's continue.
Oh, there we go.
Let's pause here to see how well you have
So this is a little just comprehension check to make sure I'm understanding what I read. We're going to go on.
We asked you to let's we are let's wrap up our active reading strategies
And then here we're
by thinking about
thinking
what you
about our
learned
reading
and how you
comprehension
might use it.
strategies. So it's asking me what are
In
I
the
think the
previous
biggest risk
lesson,
is.
you might let's continue
we're-
building vocabulary.
Learning to use our vocabulary and context. There's also some writing activities and things like that, but just kind of a good comprehensive lesson. Let's see, go back. So those are some examples of some of the things that we have for students. I'm going to change, actually, I'm going to log out and log back in as me. And we have student resources around, we have an entire Pitney Bowes collection around like workforce development. So there's, right now there's searching for a job, developing a resume, preparing for an interview, and communication skills at work once you get the job. We're developing another round of courses around applying for jobs online, and then also learning to use some digital tools in the workplace. So like word processors, Google Drive, Google Sheets, things like that. And they're all kind of contextualized with workplace type things. Like the Google Sheets is keeping an inventory, is the activity that the student's doing. Different things like that. Let's go to like lesson plans. So I'm going to click here on lesson plans. And here you'll see kind of collection of different lesson plans. They are things from New Readers Press materials. They're also curriculum that we found in other places. You'll see here that I can kind of search based on if I'm looking for low-level ESL lesson plans, intermediate level ESL lesson plans, or for literacy, same thing. So let's say I'm going to click on low-level ESL lesson plan. Let's see, I don't want to do, here's a good one. A new girl at school. Actually, I'm going to do time to pay rent. That's a good one. So if I click on that, okay, I've got to access the old version that's on my transcript. So I'm going to open that curriculum. And you'll see that there is a story, there's exercises, and there's an audio file that goes with it. It's not letting me, I apologize, it's not letting me open these things because I have an older version, but there would, so let me go back and find one that I know or that I don't think I have on my transcript. A lot of times I have them on my transcript and, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll take it, I'll try it this way. I'll log out and log in as my wife. I have a lot of accounts. So let's go, here are the resources, back to the lesson plan. And should I admit Dr. Niang, or is somebody else going to do that?
Oh, I thought he was already
There we
here.
go.
Yeah.
I think he got disconnected.
Okay.
So low level ESL, there we go. Let's do that. Yep, here we go. So I can open that curriculum. And I'm going to see the story. So there's a story for the student to read. Okay, nice short story, easy to read because it's at low level. There are also exercises. So these are kind of write the answer, circle yes or no, and then practice check writing. So around paying the bills. And then there's also an audio file.
Page 1. Time
You guys hear
to
that?
pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
Every month, Jack pays rent. Jack.
Okay, so that's the audio for the story. So I can actually download that, and or a student can download it onto their phone, and then if I'm teaching that lesson in class, I can send students home with that story and they can practice listening to the story and reading along with it over and over again at home. So it's nice. That's an example of something that came from our curriculum. So that's where I was saying, you can make as many copies as you want, but don't change anything, on the handouts. So that's just an example of the lesson plan.
That's terrific, Todd. We're getting low on time. Is there something we want to let the group, if there's something specific they might be interested in, like Nan wanted ESL material. If anybody is interested in something specific, Todd will do a search for you real quick and show your resource. Any inquiries? Just unmute yourself and go ahead and shout it out. Nobody? Okay.
How about new tutor training?
New tutor training. Oh, excellent. So if I do tutor training, oh, you know what? I am going to log back in as me because I want all of the tutor training resources to appear. So if I do tutor training, let's see what comes up. Okay, so we have some resources. Alaska Literacy Tutor Training Outline. So this is from a literacy program showing you kind of the outline for their tutor training. So we have a lot of field-based resources that we've collected over the years from different programs. I think this actually came out of our accreditation program that we use to run. So if you're kind of looking for things like, I don't know, kind of what I should include, that's a good thing. So you can see some of the basic literacy and the ESL tutor training. I have some of those. These are all part of one of those customized tutor trainings that we did, tutor training and ongoing process. So this is kind of outlining several models.
Alex, were you talking specifically about the online tutor training, those courses?
Oh, it was me that piped up.
I'm sorry.
Danielle?
Yes, that's no problem. I just know that that's something that a lot of programs are interested in. They get volunteers that may not have experience with education, and how do they kind of orient them?
Sure.
Todd, maybe you could show them how to get there through Member Central.
So the basic literacy tutor training, absolutely. The basic literacy tutor training popped up, and there's some other tutor training resources in here. So you'll see there's all kinds of stuff. But yeah, if I wanted to just show them how to get there to begin with, I would go to Member Central. I would click on tutor training, and that's going to take me right to those comprehensive basic literacy and ESL tutor training. And so there's the basic literacy online workshop. Here's the face-to-face materials for ESL, the basic literacy face-to-face materials, and the ESL online tutor training workshop. Those are going to be the main ones that you want.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. And the notebook, just so there's the one image, Todd showed them like the material. There's the one image, it looks like a notebook. It says material. That is specifically if you wanted to buy and have it printed and assembled for you for the face-to-face training, a manual. It would have everything in it. It would have index, be indexed and separated. That's available. You could purchase it through Mimeo, or you can make your own. But if you were doing like a massive training and, you had 10 trainers and you didn't want to do it, you could just have them printed and shipped to you. We have a deal with Mimeo on demand. So.
Yeah, but I just want to show you kind of what is, so this is the face-to-face material. So if I click on, let's say I click on module 4, the lesson plan. So here I can download the PowerPoint, and I apologize, I can't see the bottom of my screen. So here's what the PowerPoint looks like for that. And then if I go back, I can also download the trainer notes, and you'll see that has kind of slide by slide what I'm supposed to say. And then when I get to it has my handouts for the tutors as well. And now what Michelle was saying, so some programs, they may have 10, 12 trainers, and they may not want to run all of those things off for all 12 of their trainers. So if they don't want to do that, they can instead click on this and order a printed copy. So if you've got more money than time, you can go that route. That's not
Which is
true for a
almost
lot
never
of
the
our
case,
programs.
but
Sometimes we have a grant for
It's like we
tutor
have no
training
money or time.
right. Yeah. So in
just
that
wanted
case,
to make you
you
aware,
use the
but-
online workshop.
right. Or
Yeah.
you print off the face-to-face and have an intern or somebody make your notebooks.
There you go.
You buy notebooks at the dollar store and put them together yourself.
Yeah. Any other questions? That was a good one. Okay. Well, I will just I wanted to kind of go back
Yeah, can you share those
to
links, Todd?
that's exactly what I was going
I
to
thought
do.
as much, but
So yeah, so the web links, when we send out your the PowerPoint, you'll see a link to our main website, the membership, a link to that Education Network landing page, and also a video that kind of talks about the benefits, and a link to that request form. And
that's
then
for the
last
custom
one
login page.
for the custom login page, and then the emails for membership or to EdNet if you have any questions. So, and we're very responsive most of the time. Like everybody else, sometimes we get kind of swamped with work and but
yeah, so that'll include that. So I think that covers it. So if you, Alex, if you want to wrap up.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. That was great. This is just really cool. There's so much in there. So this is exciting.
there's a lot.
There's a lot. So yeah, we'll be back again next week, next Thursday, to talk about Workforce Atlas. We'll get this recording up on the YouTube, and we'll send along the slides just so you guys have the links. And I really appreciate you, Todd and Michelle, for being here today.
Thanks
Oh,
for
no
having
problem.
us. Yep, terrific.